There are also two keywords that we can use before the variable name, that is const and final. For example, if you want to declare a variable, for example, double and pi, and it is 3.14159, and we know that the value of pi cannot be changed. So if we keep it like that, at any point or at any later stage, we can actually assign a different value for pi, for example 5 point something. So Dart will let us do that, but we know that it shouldn't be happen. So the value of pi cannot be changed, and if we want to ensure that we will not be able to assign another value of the same type in that variable, we can use a type or keyword called final before the variable name or before the data type, for example final. So now that this pi variable is final, and if you now try to assign a different value of same type inside this pi variable, Dart will throw a compile error. So pi equals something else, and you will see that it is showing an error. And if you go to the error pane, you'll see that the final variable pi can only be set once. So this can only be set once, that means at the first place. So you cannot assign a different value inside this variable. Just like final, we can actually use another keyword like constant, and the result will be the same. But you may ask why there are two things or two keywords for the same task. Well, we can use constant or final before the variable name or the data type, but constant, we can actually use constant in other places at the right side of this equal sign. And we will do that, and I will show you the examples where we actually use const keyword at the right side of the equal. But to declare a variable constant, we can either use constant or final, and it's up to you and your choice. But remember one thing, that constant, if I declare a variable of type constant, this will be a compile time constant. That means whenever this code compiles, this will be determined as a constant at the compilation time. So this is the basic difference between final and constant. And like I said before, we can actually use the const keyword somewhere else. Let me show you that example in brief. For example, if we have a list, and I will talk about list in later videos. So for example, we have a list of, for example, string or maybe number, final int, numbers, and this is a list. Okay, this is like an array, and let me put few numbers inside this array, like 10, like 20 and 30. Okay, this should not be int, this should be, the data type should be list of int. Okay, so now that I have defined a list, an array, and inside this array we have a 10, 20, 33 element, and the length of this array is 3 because we have 3 items, and I have declared this numbers variable as final. That means inside this numbers list or numbers variable, I cannot assign another list. So final ensures that we don't assign another new list inside this numbers list. And now let me use the const keyword, and just look carefully where I'm using it. So before the structure of the list or this bracket, I am using this const keyword, and I can do that. And what does it mean is, now this numbers variable, inside this number variable, we cannot assign a new list, but also we cannot assign or add any item into that list. That means this list is final as well as constant. That means no other list can be assigned into this numbers list variable, and also we cannot modify the items in that list. So in such situation, we use the const keyword. And also in later stage, when I will show you how to create class and objects and constructors, you will see that for a class that has properties, all final properties, in that case we can actually use the const keyword before the proper constructor name. So these are the cases where we use the const property. But in general, if you want to declare a variable whose value should not be changed once it is assigned, you should use the final keyword.